let me tell you. Yeah, they tell me I should talk about it. Well, come on, let's talk about it. I don't care if you're complaining, cause your favorite driver on TV has already been bought.
Driving this 39 car seems to be a pretty good opportunity here.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit about a month or so ago, but at that point I was kind of tied up with another car, and he was trying to figure out how he could, maybe do something. But the way it worked out, it just made it a lot easier for us to come here and do this. So, but he's learned a lot, the last little bit, and he's got a pretty good car here.
175K. You look at inflation, that's about what it was when y'all were racing for 50K in the 80s. A lot of people don't remember. Dell Sr. was racing for 47 when y'all were racing for 50K here. These sprint car guys used to make money like this.
Yeah. It's, and then the cost of stuff has went up a lot,
right,
since we first started up here too. So it's, we're still out here doing it. It's, we're glad they upped the purse some, but it'd be nice if we could get it up to that same point as like what we had in the 80s, with the inflation like you talked about. So,
right.
But
it seemed like NASCAR wasn't as big of a deal as it is today. I mean, outlaw sprint car racing was just almost on the same level as well. It seemed like, even in payouts sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I went down and ran the Daytona 500 there. It was in the little parade riding around in the one car with Terry LaBonte. They had us paired up together, and we were talking, and he said, well, what do you guys, what do you race for? What do you get? And it's like, and I was telling him what we were doing. He says, well, we don't get a whole lot more than that over here.
Well, now, of course, it seemed ever since Jeff Gordon came along, the goal of the sprint car racer wasn't outlaws anymore. And now it's go to NASCAR or you're just left behind, it seems like.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think sprint car racing needs to start being viewed as more of a higher level, like a goal, a career-oriented sprint car, like it used to be, kind of?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice to, there's a lot of talk, about, you need to drive a midget, and then that teaches you how to drive a stock car. But it's like, I don't know, the wing cars are a whole lot closer to the stock cars than a midget is.
Well, what about getting wing sprint car racing to the point where guys don't have to leave? That would be the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
that would almost be like the 80s.
Yeah, maybe a little late for me, but...
Well, you was alive and doing it when it was. You were 14 years old setting track records. You didn't go into a truck. You went to sprint car racing and made a decent living doing it.
Yeah. But, it's... We were able to hit it when it was really good, and was able to keep some of it, so... but I still love driving, so I'm still here.
I know, right? Talent doesn't go away with age in racing as much as they want you to believe it does. Do you see sprint car racing coming back on a rise a little bit? Because it was a little more relevant back in the day. More people recognize the cars, recognize the stars. Now it's kind of almost segregated to where just a little group of people know about them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They've got where they're on Dirt Vision, they're streaming, but I don't know how big that audience is.
Right, it's not like you and Bob McCready and Big Blocks on Syracuse at ABC. That's not. It's a whole nother world. It's segregated.
Yeah. If they could ever get back to that, it would definitely take off, I believe. It kind of is what it is. It went directions, and it was. Things changed there for a while. After the 9/11 deal, it kind of, all the corporations deal kind of really shut down on a lot of stuff they were doing. And it's changed around where, there's a lot of things that we used to have, as far as a driver and a team that you can't get anymore, to help offset some of the expenses and stuff. So a lot of the series have kind of took over, some of the stuff that we used to get, have a cut in or get sponsored by. So, that part makes it tougher. I mean, it's back when I was running, we had a lot of help from a lot of manufacturers and either, corporate people. So,
Of course, there's the story of you helping Goodyear even get into the sport, where you were shaving tires or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been running a car, and well, it was a non-wing car at that point, but we'd won a lot of races on some of their tires that they had that they'd made, you know, years previous, and we kind of got that going, and they took note of it, and just happened to be in the right place in the right time with some people, and was able to get them involved, and you know, they were with me for I think 27 years. So
well, back then y'all were just scraping up drag tires pretty much, right? Or something like that?
Yeah. But some of that's what it was. At first was like drag tires, but you know, then they seen there was a market for it. So I was up there at Indy grooving some tires there when we were racing on the mile, and Leo Bell, that ran the racing department, was right there. His office was right there, and he comes out and he said, "You got to do this to every tire?" And it's like, "Yeah. We need to fix that."
Right. Well, I mean, that kind of changed the sport. That interaction, right? Him seeing that.
Yeah.
I think something that's changed over time as well is that winning used to pay a lot of bills. You know, we was talking about how with inflation, 175 is about where it should be. These other races ain't went up either. This is like the only one. Did it? It seemed like back then you didn't need a series to pay a tow fee or anything like that, or a big sponsor. If you was winning races, you was making money. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of places we go to, you know, and the promoters would, you know, where they weren't sanctioned, where they had some money to do, and you come in and do some TV stuff or some paper stuff, and they would pay you for that. And you know, a lot of that's just kind of gone away. There's a little bit, but not a lot.
Right.
But I mean, it used to be a lot of places. If it had a good purse, they wanted some people there, and you know, you used to get a lot of calls. Well, can you come over here and run this, and I'll take care of you. So it's like we made a little bit on that side of it. You know, that definitely helped, and you know, back in the 70s or something, we could run a race for $5,000. I mean, that was a pretty good hit.
What also seemed like back then the sprint car drivers pulled the crowds. Now it's the NASCAR guys from sprint cars. It doesn't seem like the sprint car guy gets too much fame anymore.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, that's about it. I mean, I've run the stock cars, and you know, they're not the hardest thing in the world I ever drove.
No, I would say a 900 horsepower sprint car is a little bit more difficult than a sedan with sticker headlights.
Well, that's the part they don't really realize is these things are so quick, you know, from one corner to the next, and things happen. And you know, it's when I drove late models and, you know, or modifieds or whatever, it's just like you're way ahead of the car, because I'm used to like riding this little rocket, and then you get on this car that's way slower. It's you know, you're kind of trained to being up to that speed, and when you drive something that's slower speed, it's like you can be way ahead of the car.
Yeah, you think about some of these big NASCAR guys that have no dirt experience, what they could do in one. You hear some of the NASCAR fans say, like, if you put Chase Elliott in a sprint car, he'd win the Knoxville Nationals. They have no idea. They have no idea.
No.
You know, that's just not how it works. Speaking of changing, how much has this track changed? Because it has a little bit. I mean, it used to be a lot more banked up there next to the wall.
Yeah, well, it's a lot different. I mean, you know, if you look back, there's a slab of concrete that was flat right around the bottom, about 10 feet wide. You know, and the dirt didn't start till out there, and then it went up, and it was kind of a, you know, it was even flat on the bottom out there at 10 feet. Then it went up to where the wall is now, so it was a lot more banking than it used to be. And you know, you never would have thought back in the 80s or even the 90s that you'd ever run around the bottom.
Right. No, it didn't look like it from any of the video, and all that video on ABC, ESPN is what we see nowadays.
But for me, I liked it the way it used to be, where you had to run the fence, and you know, it separated a lot of the guys apart.
Well,
you didn't
back
have
then
to
when the
race
cars
as many
weren't
different
safe
people.
they weren't safe as they are now too. You hear a few people saying they're getting too safe. I don't think that's the case, but
no, I don't think you ever get too safe. But some of it is, you know, guys think they're, especially the younger guys, don't think they're going to get hurt, but get a little aggressive sometimes. It's evolved a lot. A lot of things we've done have made them a lot safer, where you don't get hurt. But still, some freak things can, you know, reach out there and bite you too.
right. I mean, I equate it to swimming with sharks. That's pretty much what you're kind of doing. I mean, it can get you, but you're out there that's why I think this should be on an ESPN or something more so than a stock car. I think if more people saw this type of racing, there'd be more race fans.
Well, I think it's just a big difference like anything. Everything looks a whole lot slower on TV most of the time. Than if you're just like standing right down there at the edge of the track or right in the stands. So for people to come out here and watch one, there's a lot of times the people that are here the first time, they can't believe how fast the cars go.
Right.
Especially if we go someplace, I've been to places where they've only run late models and the people go, man, these things, I've never seen cars go so fast. But I think the TV does the same thing. It's just like, I'll watch any kind of racing. You don't really get the experience you do being at the racetrack. So the more people they could get here, they definitely get hooked on it.
Well, and it seems like you compare the sprint car on TV to the stock car on TV, and I still think we got a lot better race on television, even though it looks slower. Speaking
it doesn't last as long, so they can't sell as many commercials.
Well, if you fit them in the heat races and all that, you can make it work. But what do you think could help get sprint car to the next level? I've been thinking recently, try to get them into X Games or something like that. That could probably reach a lot of people. They've done the flat track motorcycle stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they could do some special events with different scenario, different formats and stuff, and definitely draw some interest.
A little off topic from this race, what did you think of the dome compared to Chili Bowl? That's kind of the new deal now, it seems like, or competitive deal now. Chili Bowl sells out its own deal, but what did you think of that event?
Well, there was a lot of people there, but I was a little surprised that the track was as rough as it was, but when you run into some of those other two divisions, it's probably going to maybe be that way. But if they get their track surface to where it was maybe a little bit better, where you definitely had two lanes, a top and a bottom all the time, but that's hard to do on dirt anyway.
It seemed like the late models and modifieds, the heavy cars kind of just chummed the dirt up out of the ground. That's what it looked like. If it was just midgets, or what about a sprint car in there? Do you think that could work?
Yeah, you could run there. It would be a little bit tighter, but it's not bad. We've run some places that are probably that size or close to it. It's just if they had more time, like at the Chili Bowl, they run and then they don't run for a couple of weeks, or and they run the shootout now, and there's a week in between, and they've done it so many times, they have a pretty good surface. So
well, and the size of the cars are so light. They're those big late models, they're heavy. It's a lot of force going in there.
Yeah, you don't have them there, so that's definitely. But what I would like to see is if they could split it up into 2 weeks. Would be the ultimate deal for us, is to, if they want to run the midgets, maybe run the sprint cars and the midgets, and then run the modifieds and the late models.
Yeah, I heard the city don't really like the deal. I think it's uneducated people, The world's kind of ignorant to what's going on. They don't know that there's how many millions of dollars in the building and racing equipment.
Well, a lot of politicians never set foot on dirt anywhere.
Well, if you're not in NASCAR, you're not in the NFL. It seems like this is high school to a lot of people, and it's not, So anyways, what are you gonna run with this one? Knoxville as well, and what else is there out there? Are you hired gun? What's up with the AG Range 3 car? Is that an opportunity to run that at all this year, or?
No, it's he had kind of thought that he had a bunch of people wanting to drive his car, so he had some people that wanted to pay him. So
he turned it into the rent-a-ride.
Yeah, so,
what do you think rent-a-rides are doing to the sport? And I think it goes back to not paying enough to win. It doesn't really pay to put a winner in the car. It pays to rent the cars out.
Yeah. Well, it's just what it is, right? I don't think it's right, but because I had to come up and earn my way and work and learn
and win.
Yeah,
you had to win too.
But for somebody just to show up and then say, I'm a world outlaw driver, most of them fail. They're usually never here very long anyway, but it seems like you're a lot of times you're babysitting some of them, but but it's always, there's going to be good ones and bad ones. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's just I don't agree with it, but
Kind of the state of the sport right now.
Where it
The
is.
payouts are where it's at. I mean, as long if you can't make money winning, like Donnie Schatz, I think last year 22 wins, 600 grand. When you look at how much everything costs, that's 22. You look at some of the other guys, they make like 140 grand all year. I mean, that's
Right,
bad. You
right.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But all right, well, good luck, I guess.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
looks like you're going to do good. Look forward to seeing you in Victory Lane, maybe.
All right, yeah,
Alrighty,
be good.
thank you.
That's the goal.